Good evening. I'm Stacey Amos for News Channel 8, and these are the top stories that we have for you tonight. Another young man is shot and killed on St. Croix. A VI senator calls for a state of emergency, and a car accident claims a life on the Melvin Evans Highway. Those stories and more up next for you on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, it was supposed to be a quiet, calm Sunday afternoon on St. Croix, but instead, yesterday was filled with sadness once again. News Channel 8's Wes Small has the story of another homicide on St. Croix.
We are here at Castle Burke near the trailer park, of course, UVI over that way, and Airport Road here right on Queen Mary Highway. And it was around 3:30 yesterday afternoon, broad, high daylight, when we have a maroon Toyota Highlander with two young men apparently traveling east in this location. It was here that they were passed by an unidentified vehicle. As it passed, the suspects unleashed a barrage of shots into that Highlander. 15 gunshots entering the back of the front seat passenger, and at least one fatal shot got through to that driver. I just talked to Police Chief Chris Howell a little while ago. He told me that the passenger who took 15 shots to his back, 15, miraculously survived surgery. If we have any more information by this evening, Stacey and I will try to give it to you. Meanwhile, here's a quote from Police Chief Howell. These recent shootings are not random acts of violence and robbery. Take it for what you may. In other words, this could be revenge shooting from earlier in the week that we had in Grove Place in Lorraine Village with Francisco Budhu. It could be related then to Grove and Estate Tortola, to the murder of Eddie Williams. Nonetheless, we now have 36 homicides in our territory for the year. That includes 5 vehicular homicides, with 17 here on St. Croix. This is the 3rd murder on this tiny island in 1 week. If you know anything, say something. At Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, or you could always call 911. How many times have I had to ask for a moment of silence? I do it tonight for the family of the victims that we have lost, not only yesterday, but during this week. At the trailer park on Centerline Road, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Now let's go to Wes across the newsroom for additional information on this tragedy.
Thank you very much, Stacey. We now know the deceased name. He is 28-year-old Kai J. Gumbs. Kai J. Gumbs, only 28 years old. Again, our condolences to the Gumbs family and so forth. The other young man who took 15 bullets to his back, unbelievable how he survived surgery last night. He is 25 years old, and of course, his name is being kept. Again, 35 homicides, 5 vehicular homicides in the territory. The numbers are staggering, but not the numbers of Americans that have guns. 270 million people out there have weapons, and a lot of them are bad guys. Folks, watch your backs out there. Call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. Like I said, today, Kai J. Gumbs. Tomorrow, it could be you. Back across the newsroom to you, Stacey.
Thank you, Wes. Well, one senator is calling for a state of emergency. News Channel 8's Wes Small files this report with Senate President Ronald Russell.
Here he is, Senate President Ronald Russell, grabbing him right in between committee meetings. And Senator, thank you for addressing this wave of violence. We've had 3 dead on St. Croix in 7 days. There's 270 million guns in the hands of civilians in the United States. Right now, you could go to Walmart, a family store, and get a weapon. Now, killers have millions of these guns as well. Over 100,000 people a year are injured by gunfire. 30,000, Senator, caused death, homicide, suicide, or accidental. I think you and your fellow senators, and I think all of us alike, are finally saying enough is enough. I listened to you on the airwaves talk about you and your family on the way to the beach. It was almost a 2-hour standoff as you watched officers with machine guns in your hometown. How do you feel about this violent situation?
Well, I am terribly disturbed by the fact that our community has changed to become a place where the criminals have us under siege, and we are retreating as law-abiding citizens to become fearful of coming out, participating, identifying criminals when we see them do a criminal activity. So I started way back in 2005 and 2006 to advocate for some degree of emergent action so that we could use the Patriot Act to deem this what we call domestic terrorism and search cars so that we could rid ourselves of guns. Guns could only do one thing. A gun is created to shoot and kill. We need to rid this community of guns. And let me tell you, Wes, this last scene when I drove up, the people that were around there were in disbelief and horror. You could have seen it in the faces. The people were just in disbelief that this could happen close to their residential community in the high day at a stoplight. And it's time that we as a community come together. We need to get the police and maybe the National Guard to begin searching cars in the night and to relieve guns from this community so that we don't be under siege. So I am standing my ground with this. I'm speaking to the governor. I will speak to all the officials. We need to sit down, the police commissioner, and come up with a plan that we could start searching cars and relieve guns from this community.
Can you tell us what's wrong? I know the weapons are here, the supply and demand. But you are a defense attorney, so I'm trying to say you've almost been on both sides of the street.
I have been.
Yeah. What is the problem?
Well,
why do we shoot each other like we're doing?
Okay. The social problem is huge. Education is one. Activities for young people to participate in. But the real problem is here is the underground economy, where crime now makes money. People are making money off of criminal activity, selling guns. Guns, I'm sure, are selling at a premium rate. Why should somebody, West, want to buy an assault weapon that could only be used to kill multiple people, multiple rounds? Why would a citizen need an assault weapon like that? That is where we have to stop it. This NRA in America, that's this gun lobby, that's lobbying for people to have guns. I against that. Guns should be regulated heavily, and we should have the right for at least 3 to 4 months to search cars and find out who have guns illegally and take it from them. We should be able to deal with guns not as a right that you could just get a gun, but it should more be a privilege that you own, and you own it because maybe of your military background, of your enforcement officer thing, or anything like that. But citizens shouldn't have guns anymore, and I believe we got to revisit those laws.
Will we be seeing those laws in the books in the legislature?
Well, I am surely going to put one in the books.
Good.
This was the last straw, and I know I'm going to get to meet a lot of resistance. But regardless of the resistance, you don't bring back any of the young men and women that have died because of guns. And we shouldn't have guns proliferated in this community the way it's being done, where it seems like anytime a young fellow is upset with a compatriot, he could just go out and shoot. We have to stop that. And I think that the community should weigh in. Let's talk about whether or not the right to have a gun should be much more restricted than it is right now, and whether we should search the cars for a period of time to see if we could rid the community of guns.
Senate President Ronald Russell, I'm Wes Small in front of legislature. The issue is guns. For News Channel 8.
In other news, there was a horrible car accident on the Melvin Evans Highway last night. News Channel 8's Wes Small has the story.
Hey, Stacy, we are eastbound on the Melvin Evans Highway, and it was minutes to 12 last night where we have a single vehicular accident rolling on this road here. Now you're seeing some file footage of an officer that was here just a few minutes ago taking some measurements. Sadly, here's what we believe happened. About minutes to 12, this single car, we believe, somehow crashed into the median, right, the divider. Upon doing that, the airbag deployed. And these airbags could come at you viciously, violently at 200 miles an hour. He was not buckled up. Folks, that airbag is there for a precautionary measure, but you need to have the seatbelt on. Without the seatbelt, fatalities can happen. This man is dead. It did turn into a fatality. The Chief Chris Howell wanted me to tell you that the airbag did not kill this man, but without the seatbelt, that's what happened. We don't know if he fell asleep, he was on the phone, if he was speeding, or he lost control of his vehicle. We don't know, but something horribly went wrong as he hit the median. And if it wasn't for a canine vehicle that happened to be patrolling between here, Patrick Sweeney is behind the cameraman, Christianstead is this way, that they actually found that man's car like half in the road, half in the bushes or so forth. We can't tell where the point of impact is because we just got here, but we can tell you that the police department found him alive. He was alive in that vehicle, but sadly, he succumbed to his injuries. Again, that airbag hitting him, but without the seatbelt. We think he lost control between here and a few hundred yards down. And our condolences to the family. Stacy, perhaps now you will have the name before I got it, because of course I'm here in the field. On Melvin Evans Highway, please buckle up, even if you do have an airbag. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
And we still don't have a name of the victim, and the next of kin has not been identified as yet. And as Wes mentioned, please buckle up. Drive safely. Coming up, St. Kitts and Nevis has made a known in technology. That's up next in your Caribbean Report.
This is News Channel 8. This is News Channel 8.
Now here's your news from around the Caribbean region. From St. Kitts, while conducting routine security patrols last Thursday in the area between Nature's Kingdom and the Clico housing project in St. Peter's, members of the St. Kitts Nevis Defense discovered approximately 150 marijuana plants ranging in sizes from 2 to 5 feet tall being grown in styrofoam flower pots. From CARICOM, senior officials from Japan are meeting with CARICOM at their 15th CARICOM Japan consultation, opening today at the Georgetown-based CARICOM Secretariat. CARICOM and Japan will exchange views on the outcomes of the United Nations Rio +20 conference on sustainable development. From Puerto Rico, the territory's government is battling to keep the cockfighting game thriving, as many matches go underground to avoid fees and admission charges levied by official clubs. Although long in place, those costs have since become overly burdensome for some as the island endures a fifth year of economic crisis. From Trinidad and Tobago, captains of industry and opinion leaders on Friday gave a clear commitment towards diversifying the country's economy away from its dependency on oil and gas. At a recent conference, professionals outlined ways they believe this country could chart a new course and ultimately create sustainable jobs. From Jamaica, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has signed a 2-year cooperation agreement with the chairman of China Communications Construction Company for undertaking exploration of infrastructure development projects in Jamaica. From the Dominican Republic, President-elect Danilo Medina will have a salary cap of around $10,000 per month, a figure no other administration official can exceed, including expenses and other perks. From St. Lucia, a new study by a British medical expert shows that a high percentage of St. Lucians are diabetic and that most of them are unaware of their status. From St. Kitts and Nevis, internet users and business in the Federation received a major boost with the news that the country now has its own internet DNS root server. The domain name system, or DNS, is the phone book of the internet. St. Kitts and Nevis is now only one of a handful of countries in the Caribbean to have a local copy of this important service. From the BVI, residents and visitors of London are in for a treat on Tuesday, July 24th, when 12 artists from the BVI will showcase their work during the 9th annual BVI Art and Culture Show and Territory Day reception. The event is hosted by the BVI London office. From Cuba, a giant cocktail with over 80 bottles of Havana Club Añejo broke the Guinness record for the largest cocktail in the world with a giant 275-liter drink. And in your cricket update, the WICB Presidents 11 and New Zealand played to a draw on the final day of their 3-day tour match at the Antigua Vivian Richards Cricket Ground on Sunday. Also, the West Indies selectors on Sunday announced a largely predictable squad for the opening test against New Zealand, starting in Antigua on Wednesday with the erratic Dinesh Ramdin returning as vice captain, but no room found for speedster Fidel Edwards. Police need your help in searching for another missing teen. The Department of Human Services and the VIPD are working together to return a 13-year-old minor, Shamils David, to the Virgin Islands Behavioral Services on St. Croix. Shamils David had been permitted by the VIBS staff to spend the weekend with his parent on Friday, July 20th, but plans were abruptly canceled when the parent was unable to accommodate him. VIBS staff contacted the police soon after David's absence was realized at approximately 6 p.m. Shamils David is 5'3" tall with a dark complexion and low-cut dark hair. When he left the VIBS, he was wearing a dark green t-shirt and long blue jeans. Please, if you know something, say something. Contact the VIPD or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. Now, 3 suspects are in custody tonight involving domestic violence. Here's VIPD spokesperson Melody Rames with more.
Police on St. Thomas arrested 2 men and 1 woman in separate cases on charges of aggravated assault and battery, domestic violence, and other violations. The arrested persons included Cecil Cohen, Janelle Jackson, and Jose Rafael Munoz Reyes. Cecil Cohen, age 29, was arrested after a police report was made saying that Cohen slapped his girlfriend in her face, causing visible injuries. The incident happened on July 22nd at about 12:45 a.m. in the Home Depot parking lot. And Janelle Jackson, age 23, was arrested on July 20th, a few minutes before 2 p.m. Police said Jackson cut her minor sister's hand with a knife. She was charged with aggravated assault and battery, resisting arrest, and assault and battery upon a police officer. And on July 16th at about 6:30 p.m., police arrested 23-year-old Jose Rafael Munoz Reyes. He was charged with 2 counts of burglary 3rd degree, destruction of property, assault 3rd, disturbance of the peace, and threats domestic violence. Police said Reyes broke into his ex-girlfriend's home in Lindbergh Bay and damaged her flat-screen television and then removed it from the home without her permission. He also went to her place of employment and threw a beer bottle at her. All of the suspects were held without bail due to the domestic violence law, pending their advisory.